It's the OCG Fam Show. We've spent quite a few episodes talking about how to bring your soil pH down. Let's talk about the more common issue of trying to bring it up. Hey there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCG Fam Show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it after the show. Right now, let's just get into the show. I'm talking fast because I got a huge long clip I want to show you. I want to get the preamble out of the way. So we've been talking quite a bit about how you would bring your pH down when it's going too high. A more common issue is what we've talked about, the alkalinity issues, where you've got your pH dropping through the floor and you're trying to keep it up as you get into bloom. And I know we've talked about this a lot too, and this is a long clip, but the clip is, I thought, pretty thoughtful and interesting and goes into a bunch of topics, not just about bringing pH up, but kind of Nectar philosophy. And so I wanted to keep it all as one piece, even though it's a lengthy clip. So I'd like you to watch it, and I'll talk to you after. So in this moment, easiest solution, OCGFAM.com, down to earth garden lime.
Yeah, and actually, starting Monday, we'll be bringing over the first load of Chimera.
Okay. And then that's the solution.
Chimera, Now, see, with Chimera, it's designed for all the customers we've been dealing with that email us with a 5.9 pH going into bloom.
Yeah.
The Chimera takes your 5.9, takes it right to 7, and then slowly brings it into the 6.6, 6.8 range throughout the entire flowering cycle.
So
where garden limestone is, it'll take you from a 5.9 to a 6.6 and then maintain 6.6. And the big difference, really, Chimera, we put everything in a pig bone and a limestone and a powdered bone, so you're getting a bloom enhancement at the same time we're fixing your pH correction.
So if I have a problem and I get the Chimera and I fix the problem, next time around I don't use the Chimera, I get some limestone and I put that fortify my soil with that before I even start?
You certainly could. If you don't see a huge dump, down to 5.7, you probably need to get away with just garden limestone.
Okay.
If you always see the 5.7, 5.8 dump, then the Chimera will snap you right back to where it needs to be before flowering and then maintain that the rest of the run.
Okay.
We put a little tiny bit of dolomitic lime to get the pH to just get there. And then the rest of it is based off of calcium limestone calcite to just slowly release throughout the entire run, depending on how acidic your water is.
So, does number 4 soil fix my problem or still need the garden lime even still?
Depends on your water. If you're an RO, rain, or distilled, you're still going to want a garden lime because that's it. If we built in alkalinity and calcite into our number 4, but we were still having farms running to 5.7, 5.8 in mid-bloom and then fighting pH until the end of it. And so instead of front loading, because the downfall of a high pH soil right out of the bag is you take a little tiny baby who prefers 5.9 to 6.2 and drop it in a 7.5 alkalinity potting soil, and it's like, I hate you. And then you have to struggle trying to get the pH low enough for the plants to absorb the nitrogen and then take off and explode. So someone should do a show about how to do all this. With hundreds and hundreds of episodes. Why never have that guy? Those good shows.
Yeah. Okay, I think I've beaten that as much as I can beat it. We'll come back to it another time. The North. Bob, question from a viewer, maybe a good one for viewer questions. Appreciate that, throwing it out there. Say you're, what about using 4-shot as opposed to number 4 for the alkalinity issue? It is more adept at the alkalinity, is it not?
Yeah, no, it's built for, basically 4-shot is our answer to everything we did to the guy who was having the 5.7 problem in mid-bloom.
Okay, so the 4-shot also has the 1-shot in it, obviously, the 4-shot name. How does that factor in next time around? Do I just add some more 1-shot in, not worry about the 1-shot, or do I have to still put some garden lime in if I'm recycling that soil time to time?
Same thing. You'd want to do a slurry, see where everything is at the end of the run, get a composting going, and then test it, and then add back to it your limestone, your Chimera, or what a lot of people do instead of front loading limestone in a 4-shot recycled, They'll add the one shot, they'll get through the veg cycle, they'll add the chimera in the last week of veg before they go into bloom. That builds in all the alkalinity back and the phosphorus feeding cycle and corrects their pH, and then they can run it all the way to the end.
Okay. This is like, you know, you're out there stacking wood, you have some leather gloves, you're out there welding, you have some really thick leather gloves. It depends on what you're doing, what you're dealing with as to how much protection you need from this. So you really have to kind of diagnose. You can't just throw stuff at it because...
No, that's the problem with chimera, is that a lot of people just want to get it, use it because it's a brand or it's a product that this brand makes. And it's like, I appreciate all of the excitement. I appreciate all those that are willing to support, but don't apply this stuff without a slurry test, because you will definitely put yourself out of range and it's not worth it. I mean, it's a great product. You know, if you really need the bloom enhancement, but your pH is perfect, feed them heavier and give them some sear seeds. If your pH is dumping, then yeah, grab the chimera. It's going to help you get that pH back to where it needs to be while giving it that flowering food source. But it's not for everybody by any means.
If you didn't want to deal with all of this, would you just not
Buy
use...
weed? Yeah. That's all right. They'll still buy it from people who grow it.
Fair enough. Could you, I mean, if you were just using a good soil and you were just using one shot, would you run into these issues still? I mean, because any kind of plant is
tap water, your tap water, and
still
the store's tap water. We're talking 3 different water sources, and guess it's only going to get worse. I mean, it's around here in Southern Oregon. The water starting this season was plentiful and high alkalinity, and now it's through the roof on pH and almost gone. So it boils down to drought, rain conditions, well depth, tap water, treatment centers. I mean, nobody's water is perfectly the same. So I can't tell you that would be, like in Michigan, on the eastern side of the state, 4-shot, their water, and number 4 in their water with some 1-shot would be perfect, because they have all the alkalinity in the world built into their water. Now, Mesa, Arizona probably needs the 4-shot and chimera and some extra sear seeds to make sure they stay fed.
So I guess what we're dealing with here kind of is like when people are using salt-based nutrients, they coincidentally or by design work at very low pHs, and so it just kind of all works, right? But when you want to...
That and the solubility and stability of their nutrients. You know, I mean, if they're running a 3-part full NPK, everything they need in 3 parts, according to the manufacturer.
Sure.
You know, you're feeding the plant. That's the most people can grow in rock wool. It's like woven stone, and you can feed them and get all the way through with huge yields by just hitting them with totally available salts. So they don't run into nearly the same issues as people that are trying to dial in their pHs in their potting soils, or, you know, a lot of people with the organic living soils will say, oh no, soils will pH balance themselves. And it's like,
will they?
Yes, and absolutely not. And the downfall is that you're in a 10-gallon pot.
Yeah.
And you're feeding, let's say, you're feeding them just rainwater at 5.7 pH. Well, that's going to strip everything out of that living soil and make it unavailable to the plant. So even then, you still have to be cautious or conscious, at least, about your water source.
Well, you know, there's a lot of soil down in Death Valley, and there's places in Utah where you'll drive for an hour or two and not see a tree, because the soil has balanced itself out to where it works just fine for what it wants to grow there. But we're picking what we want to grow. So I guess what I'm saying is that this is not necessarily a problem, as a feature of trying to be more thoughtful about growing your plant, that you're going to have these issues.
Well, and that's it. It's if you want the turnkey success pot grower game, we're not your guy.
No.
How many times have you gone to a picnic and you get like 3 Toll House cookies from 3 different families, and they're all different, like volume, thin. You're like, what the hell? Do you melt your butter before you put it in there? Between elevation and oven style and how hot or cold the freaking butter was, that's what boils down to what makes these cookies. That's how we look at all of our growing is that we're literally creating this recipe for our kitchen, our grow, and you kind of have to dial that in. Now, you can't take that cookie cutter model and go, hey, Sarah, run this. Hey, Mike, run this, because Mike has different lights. Mike doesn't have an air conditioner. Sarah's got a 3-ton mini split and an HVAC system that can keep the humidity down. He runs LEDs. He's running metal halide. I mean, how many variables can we throw at this thing? There's no cookie cutter.
But this is that you can work with those variables. This is a way to make what you want. If you just want to knock something out,
think to get there. You're not. You have to think, and we will never apologize for creating a line that makes people think. And I think a lot of our growers reach out and say, "I love this line because I have to actually troubleshoot. I have to think." The resources are here. You guys have been able to provide us with so much information. All you have to do is go find it. But at the end of the day, they love being able to manipulate what they got, because even 4 guys in the same community growing the same stuff, they all grow unique stuff because of the way they do what they do.
good answer.
Oh, you're still here. Thank goodness. Thanks for sticking with that one. What'd you think of that? Did you have any questions after watching that? Any comments? Any thoughts? Throw them in the comments. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. The OCG Fam Show. It's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you tomorrow.